In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's going on, you fucking motherless bitches? to another episode of Genius Brain. This is a highly requested guest. You guys have been bothering me about it for the longest time. Here we have director, actor, fucking gangpe extraordinaire, Justin Chon.
Yo.
With your fucking weed socks, bro.
My weed socks, yeah.
Where the fuck did you get that?
From my store, which I don't own anymore, but
Oh, you don't own Attic anymore?
no. We sold it it's been about close to 2 years, a year and a half.
You had 2 locations though.
At its peak we had 3. We had downtown, we had Gaslamp San Diego, we had Alhambra, and we had Boynton Park.
Damn, you had 3 locations?
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Well, I was always into like shoes and clothing. You know, my dad sold shoes and stuff. But you know, I just was sick of driving up to like Melrose. At the time in high school, it was like Melrose. Then we finally got like a few stores down in Costa Mesa, but not really, you know, but then it was so much surf skate. Like it was more like surf skate.
Yeah.
And at that time, those skate shops didn't carry like, you know, some of the smaller brands like that you'd find on Fairfax now.
Yeah.
So I decided, I think it was 2006, 2007. We were like, dude, let's open up our own store in Orange County, and that's kind of how it started. And then with all like my Nickelodeon money,
Your Nickelodeon money?
that and you know, some people came together. We opened our Boynton Park store first, then San Diego, and then after was Alhambra. But like clothing business, man, I don't know, man.
It's hard.
It's too much inventory, and if you don't sell it, like you just have a like just so much inventory that just sits on the shelves, and you're waiting for Black Friday to try to unload. Mm-hmm. You know, and then shoes in particular, it takes, what people don't understand is it takes so much storage space, you know, to carry shoes, and you have different colors, different sizes, different brands, and then youth, women, you know, adult, like men's, and it's, man. And then, you know, like the sizes that sell like that, and then you're always stuck with like these outlier sizes that you're gonna have to unload somehow. But
that's crazy that you even got into that type of shit. I feel like most people, when they make their big money, they probably just blow it on a lot of shit. Yeah. Like I did. Like, fuck, eh? Well, I think like a lot of people were wondering specifically, I mean, just because I went through a couple of comments and stuff, they want to know, first of all, how you got into acting, right? Starting from just what made you go into acting at first. I think because a lot of the times when people think about acting now, you see a lot more Asian Americans now, right, than it was back in the day. Yeah. And those doors were very different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started acting when like you said, there were no Asian American actors. Yeah. At that time, we had saw Jason Scott Lee in, you know, The Dragon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We saw, and then it was Jet Li and Jackie Chan. Right as I was starting, was when American Pie came out. Yeah. And John Cho was a MILF guy.
Oh yeah.
MILF. Yeah. And he didn't have an accent, and he was just some regular high school kid in American Pie, which was cool. And I was like, oh, whoa. And then I saw, but for me, to answer your question, like I got into it because I just enjoyed it. I really loved acting, and I did I went to USC for business, and after my freshman year, I did a internship in Silicon Valley, and I was like, man, you know, Silicon Valley is supposed to be progressive as a business setting, but even that felt restricting, you know, being in an office, and I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So I enrolled in like a 2-year Meisner program, and I started training and stuff, and I remember this one time we did early on, I had crazy stage fright. Like I would throw up every time before I had performed. Like I get really scared. And we did this exercise where it was like an improv where I was supposed to be, you do these things called domestics. And I was, you know, talking to an imaginary, the one was there was like my grandmother who was dying, and basically you have to do these as ifs, right? And it was as if my grandmother had 2 minutes to live, and I had to tell her that whatever I wanted to tell her. Yeah. You know, like I miss her or I love her. And I remember I started acting, and my back was to the class, and I just started crying uncontrollably. Because, it's like a very powerful sort of improv, and I started crying really crazy, and then I just remember being really embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because as Korean people, we're taught like you only cry 3 times in your life. When you were born,
when you have a kid,
when you're a kid, or when your parents die, right? Yeah. So I was really embarrassed, and I couldn't stop crying, and I just like sat there with my back turned to them. When I turned around, the whole class like got up and started clapping. And I was like, whoa, man, this is really cool. I'm allowed to be vulnerable and express myself. And there was so much freedom in that I just really, my whole goal in the beginning was just, if I could just make a living, just feed myself. I was cool with that, even if it meant like I couldn't get married and couldn't have kids and all that. I was okay with it because I was able to do something I love. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into it. And then I think naturally you just get greedy.
Yeah.
You get a little bit and you taste a little bit and you're like, I want more, I want more, I want more. And, I'm naturally sort of a driven person. So in the beginning it was like, I did a bunch of extra work and after that it was like, one line in a show. And then after that it was like getting a commercial campaign. And then after that it was, I just really, but I'm a case of not like being discovered. I'm not a case of like, I'm really a case of from the bottom up, climbing the ladder slowly, which was good. And even then, I've probably had a lot of trip ups in terms of like my own ego or in terms of what I thought it was about and kind of staying true to what's important. When you're following like an artistic endeavor like that, you get blinded by fame and money and what you think matters.
How old were you when you first hit it off? Because you said you were on Nickelodeon first, mm-hmm. right? And what show were you on Nickelodeon?
I was on a show. I started doing Disney stuff first before Nickelodeon, but basically I started when I was 20, 21, around there. Like,
so you were super young when you got like bigger roles. I mean, that's pretty big.
Yeah. So like I did Disney first. I did a bunch of Disney pilots. Like I remember I did a pilot with Vanessa Hudgens when she was like, I don't know, like 10 or something.
Oh shit.
When she was young, and other kids in that show, like Moises Arias, like he went on to do really well. And it's funny because like, I have a really funny story. I don't even know if I should tell it, but I did Disney stuff. I did that Disney Channel film with Brenda Song and then the show I was on for Nickelodeon was called Just Jordan. It was a black show.
And you're the Asian guy.
Yeah, I was the Asian guy.
The diversity call is the Asian guy. That's funny.
But it was cool, man. They were trying to be. That's what's cool about children's television is that they're a lot more open to like casting against type. Like I was actually the captain of the basketball team and all that. Like, dude, and I suck at basketball, so I look dumb. But like, they're open to really challenging stereotypes on kids' television, way more so than mainstream like adult content. Like
I don't know if you just feel like as kids too, like they just don't have that pre-notion of where people belong in terms of like their color and race. Like, I have a great example of this. Like when I went back to Sacramento not too long ago, I met this cat. It was this Filipino dude. Now my whole life, I shit you fucking not, we went to elementary school together, junior high together, and we didn't talk so much during high school. But when I met him up, because he got my number through somebody else, but he goes, yo, like I would like to talk to you and just kind of like pick at your brain, because he was like going through some shit. And he wanted to figure out what he wanted to do, and he just saw what I was doing, and I was like, you know what, elementary school friends, why not? He was super nice to me as a kid, so let's meet up. Meet this dude, and he just goes, David, it's been so long, I haven't seen you in forever. I'm like, dog, did you always have a Filipino accent? He goes, yeah, like I've always had a Filipino accent. I'm like, what? I had no fucking idea, because as a kid you don't really think about these things. I thought he was fucking around with me. I was like, dog, stop talking like that. He goes, no, I always had this accent. I was like, what the fuck are you saying? Like I thought I was in like some alternate universe. Yeah. But when you go back at it, I'm like, that's right. Maybe he fucking did, because I knew that he wasn't born here. He was a Filipino immigrant. He came here when he was like 5 or 6.
But damn, he kept the accent even
Yeah.
Coming here at 6.
Yeah. I mean, his accents, I mean, I'm kind of exaggerating it a bit, but he does have that accent.
Yeah. It's like if you grew up in K-Town your whole life, you kind of have that like K-Town swagger, you know? Like, if you only hang around a certain group of people, you're gonna talk. If you hang around only Mexicans, you're going to have a little bit of that flavor.
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah. So I was just so fucking shocked. I was like, "You're fucking with me, bro. Like, you are a straight up American." He goes, "No, I always have this accent." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here, man!" But that just goes to show, as a kid, like you don't really think in those groups until I feel like an adult or somebody else tells you about these types of things, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just playing Foursquare with the kid, you're just playing wall ball or whatever, you know, and most likely you're just getting made fun of because you're fat or too skinny.
Yeah.
So you did the whole Disney thing. Then when did Twilight come in?
It was after the Nickelodeon show, and
because Twilight must have been a crazy, because Twilight fandom was fucking insane.
Yeah.
Dude.
You know what's funny is I thought this one movie I did was gonna be, it was in between seasons for Nickelodeon, and it was called Crossing Over, and I thought that was it. I thought it was it. I was convinced I was famous.
Yeah.
Right? It was directed by this guy named Wayne Kramer. He directed this movie called The Cooler that got Alec Baldwin an Academy Award nomination.
Oh shit.
And he just was dope. Like he was homies with Tarantino, and it was a Weinstein film, and I'll tell you a lot about what might have happened afterward. But like Sean Penn, Harrison Ford, Ashley Judd, Ray Liotta, Alice Eve, Jim Sturgis, Josh Gad, like the cream, like at the top, man.
Yeah.
And I was the lead of my storyline. It was kind of like Crash, where everybody had their own sort of, their ethnicity had their own thing. I thought that was it, man. But then like the Weinsteins buried the film, and like, and then Sean Penn wanted to be cut out of it. I don't know exactly what happened, but it didn't come out for like 4 years, 5 years. And it like, I just, you know how I found out it came out? I saw it in a DVD bin.
What the fuck?
At Target. Yeah, I was just like, damn.
What was this film called again?
Crossing Over.
Oh.
I think it's on Netflix. I don't know. Anyway, like, you know, but then, you know, and then I went back to Nickelodeon, and, you know, mind you, they didn't want me to do that film because it's like such adult content.
Yeah.
And then the writer's strike happened, so the Nickelodeon show didn't come back, and I was happy to be on that show, man. Like, it was such a great sort of learning experience, and I don't care what people have to say about children's television. Like, it was liberating and fun for me. But I was like, you know what? I always wanted to be like a young Asian Sean Penn. I took acting very seriously, and so that's the type of roles I was like gonna hold out for. My agent called me up and was like, "Hey, I want you to audition for this film." And I was like, "What is it?" And he was like, "It's called Twilight." And I was like, "What? Okay, what's it about?" It's about a family of vampires and a love story. And I was like, "Fuck that. Hell no," right? And he's like, "It's based on a book."
One guy fucking sparkles like a disco ball.
Yeah,
it's
disco
weird.
ball, and you know, anyways, like, but I was like, "Well, who's involved?" And I was pretty resistant because I really wanted to do some like work that meant something to me. But he said Catherine Hardwicke is directing, and I was like, oh my God, you know, I love 13 and Lords of Dogtown, and who's the main star? Kristen Stewart, and I just seen her in Into the Wild, and she was fantastic in that. And I'm like, okay, that's enough reason for me to do this, and I auditioned, and I got it. And to Catherine's credit, like, she fought for me because they didn't want me, and you know, they didn't feel like there were any Asians in Forks, Washington. So, yeah, I'm lucky to have been a part of that. And, you know, I'm really not in much of it after the first film, but it was cool. You know, what it taught me was what I wanted and what I didn't want. Because I saw the main three kind of, you know, like from a periphery, see what they were going through with all the fame, because it was crazy fame, you know? Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody, what was Edward Cullen? Is that his name?
Yeah, his real name is Robert Pattinson.
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize. Well, both of them sound white as fuck, so I couldn't tell the damn difference. But he blew the fuck up. I'm pretty sure there wasn't a single place he could go in silence, dude.
Yeah, so that was kind of the thing. Like, people would have to, like, to go to a dinner, he'd have to, like, there was an operation, man, and I was like, okay, I don't want that. And yeah, I don't like being famous. I don't think is all it's cut out to be.
Pattinson, yeah.
And then just seeing, like, when the world is your oyster like that, also, what matters to you?
Yeah.
So it did change my perspective on why I was acting and what it is that I wanted, which was why after that I just really focused on trying to do a lot of indie films and
because don't you feel like sometimes it's hard for an actor to try to reinvent themselves when there's already like a public perception of who you are and this is who you should be?
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like that happens to a lot of people who fall into very highly successful sitcoms.
Yeah.
Because I'm like that.
Yeah.
Because even when I saw Bryan Cranston in Breaking Bad, right? Or any of his films, like he's an amazing fucking actor.
Yeah, amazing.
But watching Breaking Bad, I had trouble looking at him for the first 2 episodes because I remembered him as Malcolm in the Middle's dad.
Yeah.
Right? And so I could see how hard it would be for a lot of actors to kind of just, because the public perception of who you are is very strong. It's like they almost don't want to see you in something different besides the stuff that they love you in.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very true. And that's the marketing machine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the product driven aspect of the industry that it's necessary. It's what keeps things alive. But like for the case of someone like Robert, he after the films, like he did so many interesting films, and I really respect him for that. Like I was just like, whoa, this guy is like a real actor.
Yeah.
And really didn't do any studio films, and now he's playing Batman, and I think like that's well deserved, and it's about time that
he's playing Batman.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, he's playing Batman, and I think like he's ready to go back to that, but like he's done so many films that are feeding his artistic soul that I'm like, good on you. I like now it's like, oh, now I'm interested to see how you do it now, like the kind of black Batman you're gonna play.
I mean, there's just this point too where I think a lot of people don't understand. You just got to do shit that you hate sometimes to get to where you need to be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get that. They go, I just want to do things that I like always. It's like, well, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, and I always tell young people about this too, it's like you need to stop trying to satisfy everything with your career.
Yeah.
Meaning that you want your career to be the happiest thing, the most soul satisfying thing, make you a shit ton of money. You fix your family problems, everything.
Hell no.
And it doesn't work like that too. And so like people always ask, they go like, here's the thing that a lot of people didn't know. When I started doing YouTube, I wanted to quit after the first year.
Yeah.
Because I hated it.
Yeah.
I fucking hated YouTube. Like I fucking hated it. The only reason why I stayed was because of Bart and Joe.
Yeah.
Bart and Joe told me to stick with it, and because it was going to go somewhere and it would open other doors, which it did. But I was a stand-up comic. I liked doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And then my YouTube videos at the time were failed stand-up comedy bits that I reworked into 3-minute segments. I was really fucking loud because I heard that people had a short attention span on YouTube and I wouldn't be able to tell a story like I do with stand-up. So I developed this fucking loud character and I just did it, And so for me, when I was doing those videos, albeit too, like I really enjoyed the fact that people were laughing at it, because at the end of the day with stand-up, I just want people to laugh, and if they laugh from it made me feel good. But for me, I had to relive my broken stand-up sets and put it into these videos. Right? So I didn't want to do that shit. And then it led to other things and other opportunities because they just see that you went from here to here. It's like, no, it's like YouTube was hard for me. Like the first year I wanted to quit,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tried it and I was like, hell no, I can't do this.
It's just hard.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, I totally underestimated this. I was like, no, I could just, kind of post and when I want and I'll do something once a week. But like, hell no, man, that shit is a full-time job and trying it for a few months, I was like, this isn't for me. Like
it really is a full-time job. And I always tell people, they go, oh, well, I could do YouTube and this. I was like, YouTube isn't something that you become successful doing part-time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. It takes everything out of you.
Yeah.
And a lot of younger kids now, their dream is to become a YouTuber, which fucking blows my mind. I'm like, damn, that's like a career choice now.
Yeah.
It's for you to want to be a YouTuber. And that whole space was such a weird part for a lot of people. But on the other hand too, I think a lot of YouTubers don't get the other side of acting and film because they're so used to doing everything within their control. And they don't understand that when you fuck with other people's money, you have no fucking say.
Yeah, it's very true.
Which was the hardest reason why I couldn't get auditions and I couldn't get an agent.
Yeah.
Because they had such a bad taste from working with YouTubers.
Yeah.
They would expect the world because they're so used to having everybody say yes and do whatever they want. And so they would go to these auditions and I'm not going to drop any names, but fuck you guys. But you guys would go to these auditions and then you would act as if the role was already yours just because of who you were on this online presence. Yeah. It's like, well, that's great. Fucking 4-year-olds watch you. They're not going to watch this film, you fucking dumbass. Yeah. You know? And they didn't get the roles like, oh, they just don't know what they missed out on. They know what they missed out on. You suck as a fucking actor, you trash bag. Yeah. And then I would try to get like auditions and they're like, no, he's a YouTuber, don't fuck with him. Yeah. And then we did Gook and then it flipped. It's like, fuck, finally, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that crazy though? Like, I do feel like there's such a adjustment period, like for YouTubers and the whole YouTube world coming into mainstream sort of consciousness. And I feel now it's kind of balanced out. Like, like you can cross over if you got the right, you know, if you have your head on straight, but also like, you know, YouTubers are also like considered just as much celebrities in it as anybody else.
Oh, for sure. And they have to understand too. It's like, if you're a YouTuber and you go like, well, I could do this too. The other, well, that's just a different realm and you have to respect that art for what it is. Right. Yeah. So just as the same as they probably can't do what you do, you can't do what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And I think that's what's funny is like in entertainment, everybody tries to create this hierarchy. Unscripted, scripted, television, film, indie film, like it's all sort of, people try to find a way to like say, oh, I'm better than you.
Yeah, it's really weird, man.
Which is like, everyone's just creating shit. Like what's the reason to operate that way?
Well, you know, they like people to be put in their place for some fucking reason. Like I'll never understand that shit. You know, they go, well, like for example, like I always say, if you're on a YouTube space or if you came from Vine or Instagram, don't think that you being able to take 30 fucking takes of you reworking a joke and be able to do that when you're on an improv show.
Oh, hell no.
Good fucking luck. You have to be good on that spot. Yeah. You got to learn how to do your yes ands. And if you don't know how to do that, you're fucking fucked. Yeah. And they found out there's like a couple of people who came up on Wild and Out. Not Tim. Like Tim killed it on Wild and Out. Yeah. But there's a couple of YouTubers, Asian YouTubers that tried coming onto that stage. And I've heard from quite a few people on that cast. They were like, they were trash. Because they're so used to talking to camera. Yo, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. And, you know, talking big. But when you're put on stage in front of people, you have to improv and you have to act and do your shit. Yeah. Trash. Yeah. And that's just to say, like, you underestimated what other people did. Yeah. You know, you looked at that, what they did was easy. Yeah. And it's not. Yeah. You know?
They got wrecked.
And that's fucking great. But you did a second film that got into Sundance, Miss Purple. Yeah. How did you start Miss Purple?
So, you know, I was hoping to shoot another film that I'm actually going to shoot next month. But I was ready to shoot that last year. And that film is with Macro, this company that made, you know, Sorry to Bother You, Mudbound, and a slew of other amazing films. But I just don't think we were ready. So I was like, okay. I was also on an ABC show, and it was in between seasons. I didn't know if it would get picked up for a second season or not. If it did get picked up, I wouldn't be able to direct anything for another like year. Damn. Yeah, so I was like, shit, man. I don't want to stay out of the director's chair that long because then I'm going to get rusty. And so Miss Purple is an idea that I had for years. You know, I really wanted to make a story about siblings, specifically like a brother and sister. I just don't see that in film a lot. And I also wanted to tell a story about, you know, a family that are from K-Town, you know, that is from K-Town, and Koreatown now is so gentrified, and it's become such a like a cool place to live. Yeah, that wasn't the case in the 80s, like 90s. So you know, sometimes I look at like people who I knew that grew up there. They're kind of like ghosts in a way because all this stuff has developed around them, but they still like live in their bubble. It's really weird. But I just wanted to tell this story about people who got it feels like they got left behind. And then also like the thought of like taking care of your parents and the stuff we have to do to you know, take care of them. Like this main girl, she has stuck around. The brother is, you know, estranged, and the live-in hospice nurse quits, so she begs him to come watch the dad, and he does. But what she does for work is she's a Tomi, you know. She works at a karaoke and is like a hostess, and you know, I mean, that shit is real. you know, and I just wanted to tell an honest, authentic story about us. And, I think we have films like Crazy Rich Asians and Black Panther and all this stuff, but like specifically Crazy Rich Asians, I think it's necessary and I think it's great for us, but it is about like the 0.01%.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think that most of us don't live in that type of wealth. Most of us are just working class. And if you notice, the films that I make are about, working class folk.
Yeah.
I think my films, I wanted to represent a lot of us.
Yeah.
I just, Miss Purple is like very, very personal and it's a type of films that I like to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference. Just like, when Crazy Rich Asians came out, people are like, "Are you hyped for it?" And I told my friends, I was like, "No, I'm not, because it's not my type of film.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not what I normally watch."
And here's the thing, you're allowed to say that.
Yeah. I still bought a ticket, to support it. I know what it's good for.
Yeah.
They're like, "Did you go watch it immediately?" I was like, "No, I didn't have the time, so I just bought a ticket."
Yeah, exactly.
So I bought the ticket and then I watched it later, right?
Exactly.
And they're like, "Well, what did you think about the film?" I was like, "It wasn't my type of film."
Yeah.
I knew right off the bat that I wasn't going to vibe with it because I can't relate to it. So that's just what it is.
And that's where we need to get to, where we do have films that sort of cater to all of us.
Yeah.
Right? So like if Crazy Rich Asians is your type of film, cool.
Yeah.
But now we have The Farewell, we have, my film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different films that we can make that isn't just one monolith, isn't just one type of film for all of us. Because that doesn't make any sense. We're all so different.
Yeah.
Like the type of shit we're into,
Yeah.
That always bugs me. It's like you're not allowed to say anything bad. Have you seen Aziz's new stand-up set? It's pretty good. He talks about, like, obviously he talks about everything that happened with the Me Too thing, but then also he talks about Crazy Rich Asians. It's pretty fucking funny. You should watch it, because it's just like, he's talking about how white people, like, it's like we guilted them into like, be nice to us. And he's like, yeah, it's nice, but I do feel like we're living in a time where I shouldn't have to blindly follow something because, it's people are telling me to.
Yeah.
I do think you're right. We should buy the tickets because we don't have enough. Here's the thing right now. We don't have enough
to say no.
To say we don't have enough to be like, oh, fuck that film. We don't have enough films for us. So every time a film does come out that's for us, by us, we need to support it. Now, when we get a little bit more sophisticated, like the African American community has, like, now they can make a Get Out. Now they can make all these different types of African American films, and it's sustainable. But right now we're not there yet. So I also get like why we need to support. We have to.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, I just bought the ticket.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I know what this is going for. Boom, bought the ticket. And then I moved on. And then people are like, well, why didn't you like it? I was like, well, here's the thing too. It's like, film is art, right? Yeah. So art can be appreciated however I want to interpret it.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't like it, I'm allowed not to fucking like it.
Yeah.
I don't have to like it because you tell me to fucking like it, dude.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of films that you probably dislike that I fucking love, dude.
Yeah.
And so I know what the purpose of where the money goes to. Like, I completely get that.
Yeah.
But there shouldn't be a conversation where you get upset at me for not liking a film because you feel like it's going to have some kind of like crazy great wave for us. It's like, yeah, I support that.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. Like, let me not like it. It's not like when some of my friends are like, yeah, I didn't really think your film Goop was that great. I'm like, cool, whatever.
Yeah,
it's all good. It's a black and white film. You're also stupid, so it doesn't matter. So it's taste and preference is allowed, but people tend to be a little more sensitive about stuff like that nowadays. So it's like I don't even know where to begin and start, because I always tell people that I found a lot of even people that I know personally, they are the loudest fucking people, like on Twitter, on Instagram, about Asian representation. But I was like, that's funny, because 2 years ago, you weren't saying shit.
Yeah.
You were not there. And when I was struggling with it, you couldn't even relate. You're just like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And now it's just like, oh man, we need more Asian representation. You shut your fucking ass up, dude. You fucking bitch. Like, I hate that shit, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do like it though. People, we do want to see, I understand, I can't relate to this, but I can understand why people want to see familiar faces on the screen, right? And I think I just grew up blessed in a very diverse area.
Yeah.
So I never thought about racial things too much.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I had a conversation with somebody about Asian superheroes, right? they're like, oh, why can't fucking Superman be Asian? And I just straight up said, I was like, because I wouldn't watch that shit.
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, why? I was like, because I never looked at Superman and said, oh man, I wish I was a white guy. I just wanted to be an alien that could bust through walls.
Yeah.
Like the race thing didn't click in my head.
Yeah.
I never looked at Superman and said I couldn't be him because he was white.
Yeah.
It didn't make me want to be white.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a dude that could bust through shit and fly really fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So maybe maybe that's just not how I saw things, but I feel like a lot of people had that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, people do, man. And for me, what's more important right now, and I talk about this a lot, but like, you know, in the age of Black Panther, Miss Bala, and Crazy Rich Asians, that's cool. We need that.
Yeah.
We need that. But what I'm interested in the film, in the storytelling that I'm doing, is how we coexist. You know, how, you know, so Miss Purple has a whole Chicano storyline that weaves to the film. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, like the score, a lot of it is, you know, Mexican inspired. And what interests me is how we live in the United States together.
Yeah.
Not like on our own corners of the nation. Like, it's like, no. Like, let's show it for what it is. You know, like, how are we in the same space?
Yeah.
I don't see that very, very much. And if they do, a lot of times it's to fill a quota, the check marks. Be like, oh yeah, we need one Asian guy, one black guy. That's not helpful either. Yeah,
and people's reality is only based on where they live. Like I think I read a couple of reviews for when Gook came out, and I think there was only one review that bothered me a lot. I mean, there were some people that just didn't like certain things about it, which is completely fine.
Yeah, everybody, yeah.
But there was one fucking review that got my ass, and it was just, I got so fucking irritated because they wrote that they said that the Hispanic characters weren't real. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That guy's a fucking vato. That's him. Nobody told him to act that way.
Yeah.
That was just him.
Yeah.
And he was like, Mexican people don't act that way. It's basically what they were saying. I'm like, dog, did you grow up in East LA?
Yeah.
Have you been to East LA?
What they don't know is those aren't actors.
Exactly. They weren't actors.
Like, that's what's crazy is like, I got real people.
Yeah.
From the hood.
Yeah.
Right? Those people, like, I made a concerted effort to find real people to fill those roles.
Yeah.
So it was authentic. So you couldn't tell me it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why that review, it got my ass. I was like,
who said that? Was it a white person?
Of course. And I forgot.
Well, what the fuck do they know about about being the hood?
Yeah. And I was like, you didn't grow up in East LA, dude. And like, I forgot his name though, but he was fucking dope. It was the guy that you got as like the main dude, the main Mexican cat.
For what?
For Gook. What was his name?
Mexican dude.
He was the one that pushed you up against the fence.
Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar, dude. Caesar was so fucking dope, but they were like talking about him. I was like, Caesar of all people?
That's who he is.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, how the fuck do you know?
I mean, like, he's reformed.
Of course.
You know, he's not that. He's like an actor. Like, he's a real actor. Yeah, he's a real actor. But like, he comes from that.
Yeah. That's
where he came from.
That's what I'm saying. That's why shit irritated me. I was like, that was the only thing that irritated me. I was like, how fucking dare you? Like, you can't talk about the authenticity of something from something that you've never experienced, saw, lived, breathed, or even been there.
Yeah.
So what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Yeah. It's just like, dude, that's so irresponsible. Like, I just want to slap the fucking shit out of that guy.
Yeah, I feel like those reviews, a lot of times, they have to say something that someone else hasn't said, or be controversial, or like, because otherwise their opinion has no value. I
think there should be a rule for films too. It's like, you don't get to write a review for a film until you sat with it for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because like, even like on Sundance, you know, those films that we were watching, there was a review for it like 2 hours after it premiered. I was like, how can you judge a film after you? There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
You haven't really thought it through.
Yeah. Like that means you saw it, you walked outside and you started typing it on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like, you could have at least like sat with it, watched it again, and then reviewed it. Because that's what happens to a lot of just like digital media, because you have to be the first because things come out so fast.
Yeah.
Especially with music. That's how it is with music.
Yeah.
When an album drops, people are like, yo, the best album of all time. How? It just came out yesterday.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to say of all time, that's like, you know, I mean, even like the best album, the true best albums of all time. It's taken decades to really sit on it and really evaluate why it's the best album of all time.
Yeah, when people used to do like music reviews, man, like you were supposed to sit with it. So, because it's a discography. It's from track 1 all the way to track 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a flow. There's a reason why they chose these tracks to line up the way that they did.
Yeah.
If you haven't sat down and listened to every fucking track without skipping through it, you shouldn't be able to write a judgment piece on it. You didn't get to sit with it.
Yeah.
Like that's because I used to do that shit, right? There was like a John Legend that came out. It was Revolver, right? Or Revolver, I think. But when I first listened to it, I was like, this shit sucks. And I hated it, right? And I just kind of wrote it off. And then one of my boys was like, yo, that album's actually pretty dope. Like, just go back to listen to it again. So I just said, fuck it, stayed in my room, blasted it, listened through it. And I was like, yep, this is a good album. Because I was just so dismissive of it. Because it wasn't like his older stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand how people can do that with films. Like, even with a film like The Last Black Man in San Francisco, right? I mean, when I watched it, I couldn't even make head of what I just watched, right?
Yeah, it's a very unique film.
Yeah, so people were like, what did you think about it? I was like, I don't have an opinion yet.
Yeah.
Let me go back and watch it again. Because it's so nuanced. It's such a fucking nuanced film.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't, number one, like, if you guys haven't watched the film, you should watch it because it's just beautiful, right?
Very beautiful.
The thing I loved about the film the most, right off the bat, was a score.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even the way they directed the acting or just like the direction and just how it was, it plays like a theater, like a theatrical acting. So I was like, oh, this is so fucking weird. So I have to go back and watch it, but I'm not going to have an opinion on it yet until I sit with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
No, I think that's very insightful of you, man. I think it should be that way. And I find myself in the same trap, like judging it right away and dismissing things. But there's a lot of films that have like really bad ratings that I love. But it takes me a second, and also there's films that I love that I watch over and over, and I realize they're even better than I thought. The more times I watch it, like any of the Mexican directors, like the Inarritus or the Cuaróns and stuff. Every time I rewatch, I go, oh, I pick up something new, and there's stuff that like they put in there and on purpose. Yeah, it's not an accident, and I'm like, oh my god, how could I? And I can never unsee it. I'm like, how did I not see that before? I don't know. I think great films are meant to be watched more than once. You know? And people have such short attention spans that they just want a new thing. Yeah. It's like, when you're watching porn and shit? Yeah. It's like, dude, if you just spent your time with one video, like one good video, you probably enjoy it more but then like you're so focused on like trying to find the best video, the best clip, whatever. And then you're like, it's like 2 hours later, an hour later, and you're like, fuck, this fucking sucks.
Porn's a weird space though. Yeah. Porn's like one of those things is like, I always find it weird when a couple of my guy friends are just like, yo, do you know this porn star? I was like, bro, the fact that you even know their names, you sick fuck. You're supposed to look at a thumbnail, jack off, and move on, dude. What's wrong with you, dude? Like, these were like, yo, I know her first and last name. I follow her on Instagram. I was like, you have a sickness, bro. Wow, like, if you ask me the name of a porn star, I know like classic people, right? Like Jenna Jameson and Tira Patrick. Yeah. Beyond that, you got me. And then Ron Jeremy for his fucking 14-inch dick. Like, other than that, bro, like, like the new ones, you're a sick fuck, dude. Yeah. You fucking deplorable human being, you trash bag.
But yeah, man, like, you just, you watch clip after clip after, because that's the world we live in now. It's like more and 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 more. Yeah. Instead of like finding quality and really enjoying something of quality for all the thought and energy that was put into that, and I don't think
film is so romanticized nowadays too that I think the sad part about things that I don't understand, I see this a lot in comments and I see this a lot in kids who apply for work and job and they want to work with me. They go, it's like, oh yeah, like I love blah blah blah. The first thing I ask too is like top 3 favorite directors, 4 favorite films. What are they? Yeah, nothing. And I'm like, then why are we having this conversation? Yeah. Like, well, why do you want to go into film? You don't watch film. Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? It's like, even for me, it's like, I thought I didn't watch that film. I'm like, you guys don't watch any film. Yeah. Like, so why do you want to be a director then? Why do you want to go into film? Why do you want to write? You don't even have a favorite writer. You don't have a favorite director. You don't know anything about the craft that you want to be a part of. It's like, oh, I just got to watch a few things. And no, if it was that fucking easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
You know, you just see the shit from the outside. You don't know the type of like theater training, how much acting classes, like what all these people go into, like their background. They're like, well, I don't need to go to traditional whatever writing schools because I could just see what I like in a film and just do it. There's a system to this shit that helps. I was like, I really wish that was the case for a lot of people, but there's a few people that can do it, right? But not everybody. And unless you're that special person, then why not do the extra work and try that out?
It's a lifelong endeavor, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's like anything, you know, like it just takes so much. It just takes a lot of time also for you to get good, to marinate. You know, I'm just starting out, man, as a director, and I still got so much shit to learn. Like, you know, and you know how much film I watch. You know?
For sure.
Like a lot.
You're fucking a psychopath, dude.
But I watch a lot of film. But even then, I'm like, compared to a lot of other people that I know, I'm nothing.
Yeah.
I'm still like just skimming, you know, just very, very scratching the surface. Like people that I know, my film knowledge is like that. And they've really sat with some of these, like a lot of these films and analyzed it. And, you know, and I think that's the other thing is critical thinking.
Yeah.
You know, just like, well, if you want to be a director or writer, like just think critically about it. Like, so what do you like? First of all, asking yourself the question, why? Why do you want to do it? And what is the purpose? And then secondly, like, okay, then what do you need to do? And if you haven't even like, so this one actor told me one time, you know, and he's a veteran, he's been around forever. And I was like, and I was that kid. I was like, hey man, so I want to get better at acting. And we were at this like, and I wasn't a nobody. Like we were at this signing event thing, and I was like, yeah, you know, I want to do that. And he's like, okay, how many Paul Newman performances have you seen? Well, I seen Color Money. I seen, you know, Cool Hand Luke. He's like, what else? I mean, not much out of that. Like, well, Jack Lemmon, Brando, you know, all these like greats. And I was like, well, you know, I've seen a few. He's like, dude. He was like, dude, why, like, if you haven't even done that work, like, why are you asking me this shit? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, okay, if you were, say, Kobe, do you think Kobe doesn't know, like, all the stats, all the fucking study footage of all the greats and, like, has done everything he can? He studied everyone who comes before them. If you were fucking in baseball, like fucking say you're like whoever it is, like Darryl Strawberry, whatever it is, like you would study all the greats from Babe Ruth on, like everybody, because you got to know where you came from to know where you got to go. And if you haven't done even that minimum, that's like the bare minimum is what he was telling me. And it was a wake up call. I was like, oh shit, you're right. You're doing stand up. Dude, you have to have studied all the greats, you know, like all the greats, and understand the mechanics of why their jokes work and their style of storytelling and all that stuff. If you didn't go through and really studied it and figure out what makes them tick, how do you expect to innovate on that? Yeah. Like
that's the hard part for people to really listen to and understand, because people take this type of advice sometimes and they think that you're shitting on their dreams. It's like,
it's not.
They're like, well, why do I have to do that? It's not that you have to do it.
You don't do the shit.
Yeah. Nobody's forcing you to.
But don't be disappointed when it doesn't work out the way you think it's gonna work out.
Yeah. And then there's this whole thing where they can't point their fingers this way, they have to point it outwards. They go, oh, it's because I'm Asian. It's because I'm this and that. And that's why there's like certain people in this space that they know that I don't like them because I'm very vocal about it, obviously. Right. And like, I even had a conversation recently with one of my friends, and it was like, they were like, oh yeah, one of the guys that I vocally dislike. And
you should name that person's name.
I wish I really could. I would, but everybody's telling me not to. So like, I'm like, okay, because it doesn't help. I'm cool, I understand. I'm learning how to be more civil.
But I feel like it's entertaining.
Oh, for sure. And they're like, okay, well, they asked them like specifically why I don't like them. He was like, I don't know why he doesn't like me. And I was like, well, it's because of shit like that. You expect the world to be given to you.
Yeah.
And it's those type of conversations what I dislike about people the most, is where they blame everything on. They say it's because I'm Asian why people don't like me. It's like, no, Asian people also don't like you, dude.
Yeah.
So it's not because of your ethnicity, dude. It's because of you, and you don't want to take that responsibility. It's like, I'm not getting these opportunities because I'm Asian. Don't place it, put it on our culture. Our culture's fine. People fuck with us. They don't fuck with you. So don't drag us down just so you can lift yourself up.
Dude, damn, I'm so curious who this is now.
Fucking losers, dude. Fucking hell. I just, and they're not, I don't think they're bad human beings.
Yeah.
But they're just too phony about their shit, and I don't really vibe with that.
Yeah.
Like if whatever, like I don't really think twice about them.
Yeah.
But the fact that they always have to bring me up in some type of conversation, like, don't worry if I don't like you. I just don't like you. Just fucking move on.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm just one person, dude.
Oh, so this person's going around telling everybody, oh yeah, he don't like me.
Yeah, and then now, like, because I'm an asshole, like I specifically, I'm like, well, because it bothers them, I just do it more now. Like, okay, damn it, David, like, be nicer, which I was trying to do this year. It's not happening. So, but I just don't like that. It's like, here's a great advice that you gave to one of our friends, right? You asked him, I remember you told him, you said, he wasn't booking a lot of roles, right? And I told you to talk to him, and you talked to him, and you said something very, very profound and very simple. He goes, well, with these roles, like, why do you think you're not booking them? And he goes, well, do you think you're good enough? He goes, I think I'm ready. He goes, and you told him, he was like, well, if I put you next to your favorite actor, who's your favorite actor? And I think he said like Denzel at the time, right? And you were like, do you think you can go line for line with him? And he goes, no. And you're like, well, then get back to work.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very true.
Then get back to work.
Yeah. Unless if you are at some De Niro status, you still should be training.
Yeah.
I don't understand when people are like, yeah, I've done enough acting class. No, you haven't, bro. Like, even those motherfuckers are doing plays in between movies.
Yeah.
Pacino's like still does plays to train. And I'm like, well, like, and I'm guilty of it, but like, why do you think that you are special in a way that Pacino doesn't think he's special?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's delusion.
Yeah.
That's grand delusion, man. Yeah. And that goes for everything. Like, with me in directing, dude, that's why I'm putting out, that's why I'm constantly directing. That's why I'm making film, like trying to make a film like once a year, once every 2 years. Dude, it's tiring. I wish I could take a year off, but like, if I don't, I'm not going to get better to where I want to be, and they're like, oh, you should be like, I'll tell you this, after Gook, like, people were like, don't just go direct something else. You have to direct something bigger, or you have to direct something studio or whatever. I always thought that was phony advice, because I was like, dude, first of all, if I go do that, they're not going to let me do what I want to do, right? What I'm trying to do is I need to just get out there and fail. It's okay. So like, when I was going to go direct Miss Purple, everybody was like, you sure you want to cash out all your chips on that film? Like, you should cash it on some, like, I was like, cash out my chips? I got no chips, man. Like, I need to keep creating for me to get better. I'm not thinking of this as like this one opportunity or this, like, if I don't keep making films, I'm not going to get better. And I'm not waiting 6 years between films like other people do to get back in the seat, because you're not going to, what do you think changes in 6 years? You actually get worse.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm just like, so I went and did it. And like, everybody was really thought it was a wrong decision. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it's
people thought Gook was a wrong decision too, though.
Yeah, they thought Gook was a wrong decision. No, but even the film before that, Man Up, that I did with Kev, like, they thought that was a wrong. But at the end of the day, man, like, all those films have gotten me to where I am.
It's reps. Yeah. It's all reps, man.
It's all reps. And Miss Purple, man, well, if it was a bad decision to make a film that got into competition at Sundance, well, I guess it was a bad decision. I don't know, man. But beyond the results of it, it was the process that I was like, no. It's about the journey, not like, I don't look at it as in like, dude, once I'm done with a movie, I'm done. I'm like, I'm thinking about my next one. Yeah. I'm not resting on my laurels and being like, dude, you rarely ever hear about me talk about Gook. Yeah. I rarely ever talk about it. Because I'm not like, there's stuff to learn from it. And once in a while I'll go back and watch it, because I can see where I need to improve and where I was and where I need to go. But I don't watch it to like pat myself on the back, and I think that is the main difference. It's the process for me. It's the road to where I want to get to. And I might never get to where I want to go, but that's actually a good thing. Yeah. But everybody's so result oriented and being like, when I get this, when I do that, when this person like does, gives me this or like.
Well, it's hard because like you're. I mean, I don't think you should be the outlier in this, but the norm is that most people do things for recognition, not because they love it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm finding out a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, because people will ask, they go, well, why don't you just post more on YouTube and do these videos? Like it made you more money. Well, if I wanted to make more money, I would have done something way different than entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, like money is the ancillary thing that came along with doing something that I enjoyed, right? Gook didn't make us money.
No, it didn't make, yeah,
You know?
I saw him see a single cent.
Yeah, people are like, yo, man, like you must be fucking caking off that shit. And I'm like,
Caking?
Really?
Shit.
Is that what you think?
Damn.
You know?
I wish.
Yeah, and then people are like, oh, it's like, what do you think about? I was like, dude, Gook was 2 years ago, but it feels like eons ago to me. Like it's hard to think about something constantly. Like okay, cool. It happened. Like I moved on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now it's time for me to do something new.
But that was the thing is like Gook happened and afterwards, like I was like, okay, I got to go make some money. I went and did an ABC show.
Yeah.
Like you said, like sometimes you got to do shit you don't want to do in order to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
But doing that show banked me financially so I could make Miss Purple and take 2 years off to like make Miss Purple and this film I'm about to make like, you know, and like it's about the process. I mean, I'm trying to get somewhere, but like if it requires me to do a few things I don't want to do, then cool, man. But even that ABC show, you know, guess what I was doing when I was on that set?
Yeah.
Hey, what does that do? Can I touch that?
Yeah.
Like what? Like why'd you put that light there? Oh, what is that called? That's what I was doing. Like, but that's the thing is like everybody's like pouting and whining about like wherever they're at in their life and
why.
It's always an opportunity, man. And like right now, you know, I'm trying to get this film made and you know, I'm putting out a film as well, you know, and it's tough. Everything's tough. Everything is tough, man. Everything is so damn tough.
It's hard because the biggest thing that people ask consistently on this is they don't know how to be passionate about something that they love, right?
Yeah.
Because for you, there's that passion, and a lot of people apparently can't get to that point.
Yeah.
Because they're more. I think I'm more of that norm where I like things for a second, but I don't know how to dive into something 100%.
Yeah.
And it's because like I don't know if I share that singular passion, right? For you, whether it's directing or acting, is still within the art of film.
Yeah.
That's your thing,
Yeah.
right? And I always tell people, hey man, you can be a jack of all shits or you could be a jack of one trade.
Yeah.
And for you to master one thing you'll never be able to do it within a lifetime.
Yeah.
So could you imagine how hard it is to try to do 6?
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody wants to do 6 though.
Exactly. That's my problem. So like for you, I think like that's why you're able to progress because you double down. It's like, okay, if I'm going to be a director and this is what I want to go and this is where I want to go and this is what I enjoy. You did one film. You're doing another one, and then you're doing another one, and they're all different. Miss Purple was a way different film than Gook was, right? Like number one, it was like cinematography wise, it was way different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The coloring was beautiful. It was very Wong Kar-wai to me. Like it looked,
Wong Kar-wai, but you know other influences was like you know Koreeda's films and a lot of European films. Yeah, but like,
and it wasn't as dialogue heavy.
It was very quiet.
Yeah,
it was much more experiential and introspective. And it was designed that way. I really, this is the type of film I wanted to make. It's not as commercial. Yeah. But it's supposed to make you think and talk but yeah. And this next film is a little bit of both. But you know, here's the thing is like, I can learn from anywhere. So then I did a film, you know, after Miss Purple, after I shot Miss Purple, when I was doing post on Miss Purple, Wayne Wang, the director of Joy Luck Club and Smoke, and he's like an OG. Like he's one of the true OG independent filmmakers. He made a film called Chon is Missing for like $4,000 or $5,000. It's a film that's very respected amongst like cinephiles and you know his film Smoke with Harvey Keitel is amazing. And you know this guy has lived a life of film and he called me up. He's like, hey, you know I want to do this film. Do you want to be the lead in it and everything? I was like, what's it about? Well, it's about, you know, a guy who's cooking a final meal for his mom who's dying of cancer. I was like, that's funny because I just made a film about a parent who's dying as well. I was like, are you okay with that? Because I just want to be transparent that I just did a film about the same thing. He's like, yeah. And he was not worried at all. Yeah. He's like, nah, man. And I was like, shit, I should go and see how this guy does this. Take on this subject. And I went on that set and I didn't see it as like he didn't see it as threatening. It was all gravy. And I learned so much from him. And like, you know, at the end of the day, the whole experience was so nourishing to me because I was like, shit, man, there's so many different ways to do this. And this dude who's like older now and basically retired. He says he's retired, but he keeps making films.
Yeah.
But he loves it so much.
Financially retired is what he is. Yeah.
But he loves film so much that like, you know, he wanted to make this thing and he wanted to make it out of the system. Kind of like, and man, it's the best. But I was in the middle of post. I was like, I shouldn't leave. You know, I'm trying to fight the Sundance deadline. And I was like, no. This experience probably is going to give me more than what I think. And it's going to Toronto. It's going to Toronto International Film Festival. And like, wow. But man, like you know, just because like I'm trying to learn from everywhere. I'm not just trying to like, and that's the thing I think you're talking about with these kids is like, they don't want to learn from you. They come to do an internship for you, but they don't really want to learn from you. Yeah. They just want to get the cred and they just want to say they worked with you, probably. Yeah. They aren't curious about your process or what drives you or the things that matter to you in life and like, looking for some mentorship, you know what I mean?
It's hard because like, and I try to explain sometimes, and sometimes I'm nice enough where I'll respond back where I'm just like, what, why? Like, I'm always wondering why. Yeah. And I was like, they're like, oh, it's because, you know, I just had an email, the email was nice. And I always asked them, I was like, well, why'd you come to me if you want to do film? Yeah. They're like, well, it's because this is it. Like, I saw you on YouTube. I was like, I'm not film. You're coming to the wrong person. So you already started off bad. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not film. Yeah. You need to go intern and work for somebody else. Yeah. Like you're already, I was like, either you're doing this because you either want to be around me and then, you know, I've helped you out in your life, which great. I love that shit. Yeah. But it would be a disservice of me for me to take your free work and I don't teach you anything. Yeah. I can't teach you anything. Yeah. I'm learning right now. Yeah. So I'm still student. And then you're trying to learn from me. I got nothing to give you. Yeah. Like you need to work on set. You need to go get that type of experience because that's the experience that I'm getting right now. Yeah. So it's weird. It's like, I think sometimes people just look for the thing that's familiar and it's the easier way out. Yeah. And it's not the right choice. It's not. Yeah. You know, there's no way that I can help you out about all this, because this person specifically wants to be a director. Mm-hmm. Wrong person, bro. You know, I'm not a director, dude. I'm not, dude. I'm a fucking comic. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Other than that, like right now, I'm just trying to write. Like I'm learning how to write right now. Yeah. Like, I can't help you out, you know? Yeah. So it's rough.
Yeah, man. I don't know. You know, I think, find people who, you know, if this podcast is more about like telling young people about what maybe good advice, like find somebody you admire, man. Yeah. And try to figure out what makes him tick. Like, you know, if he came to you and said, listen, I'm trying to be a director, but I just like your philosophy of life and the way you roll and like, and I vibe with your perspective on the world, I think you would have reacted differently.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and he could have said, you know, as a director, like I'm looking for different perspectives that shape my view on the world. How can you
I have said no to that?
How can you say no to that? But like, yeah, you know, and I don't know, when I worked with Wayne, man, I came with, you know, humbly, and I could be like, I could go there and be like, oh yeah, I fucking directed a few films too, and yeah, what? Like I went there being like completely open-minded and like whatever you want. Also treating him like the director. I was like, you're the director. I'm here to service you, you know, but fuck, dude. Like
even something small, like on this indie film that I'm on, like being around Lamorne, right? Yeah. Like watching him work, like his improv and everything and how great he is on set. I'm just like sitting, he doesn't know this, but I'm looking at him like, I'm gonna write some fucking notes on this shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, there is like like this huge gap and difference between me and him. You know, it's like here and fucking here.
Well, he just had so many hours. Yeah. You know, he just had so many hours.
His reps are there. You know, number one, he takes acting classes. You know what I mean? He's trained. Yeah. And then you could see those huge differences. And that's why like, you know, people go like, oh, you don't take any acting classes and then you guys sign. It doesn't mean I'm good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm good at what I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you can't compare me to somebody who's like classically trained that's continuing to grow and they put all their chips into acting to me. Yeah. Because that's I'm here and they're right here.
Lamorne has a good attitude about it all. Yeah. You know, I remember like I did an episode of New Girl with him, right? Mm-hmm. And tell him I said what up, by the way. He's a good dude. But like when I was chilling with him on set, just chill, man.
Yeah, he's a nice dude.
He's a chill ass dude. It wasn't like, oh, I'm fucking serious regular or whatever. Like, get the fuck away from me. It was like, we know some mutual people, but like, just a chill ass, like really stand up dude. And it's the reason why people love to work with him.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to work with Lamorne because he's just like, he's a real dude. He's not like trying to be celebrity, kind of like, you know, flex his status or nothing. Like, he's just chill as fuck.
Yeah, it's just really great to be around. There's another guy named Matt McGregor. He's on the show, How to Get Away with Murder. Guy's fucking awesome too. I'm like, I didn't fucking know. So I'm like, yeah, these guys.
But they just work. They just work. I mean, someone like Lamorne, he just does the work.
Yeah,
he just does the work, and he's a professional. You know, and I think that's the other difference is like, you know, understanding what it means to be a professional.
Yeah,
like I'm not talking about some like hobbyist.
Yeah,
you know, actually, you know, understanding what the job entails and the type of prep and you know, the type of like, you know, and then you got people who kind of phone it in and they sort of rest on their laurels and all that stuff, but that's why they ain't progressing or they're not happy in life and they don't find any joy in their work anymore, you know, like you see these actors that have been around forever and they're famous, whatever, and you just see them on set. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
No wonder you're so unhappy with your life. You want to get written off the show and blah, 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 because
you don't enjoy what you're doing.
You don't enjoy what you're doing anymore. And like, why are you even here? Why are you even here? But someone like Lamorne, he's like, nah, I could see him pushing, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, from where he came from too. I don't know if you talked to him about like, yeah, anyway, like, yeah, I mean, I think, you can learn from all that shit. I'm sure you're learning a shitload on the set.
Oh, for sure. A lot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just watching them work is pretty awesome. It's just like, oh shit, look at that, dude. Like, I ain't shit. Like, oh shit, I really ain't shit, dude. You know, because like acting is one of those like ancillary passions that I have, right? Like it's, unless I dive all in, it's not going to get any better. And I understand this. Like that's why I get picked roles where I can kill what I can do.
Yeah.
You know, if it takes me out of something that I don't normally do, it's going to be a rough battle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because then I have to sit, I got to go get an acting coach. I got to sit, work with them for like months, and then I'll be able to come in. But, you know, like I feel like with him or even you, if you get something within like 4 or 5 days, you'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
Me? And then it's like, if it's not something that I'm already used to, and this role was kind of like tailored towards me. So it's like, cool, I can do this. So I got the script like literally 2 days before they were shooting. I was like, well, I could do this, thank God. But if it was like this character, like, okay, well, this character's, he's a father and then the mother died recently and you're also a cop. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to pass on this. I'm gonna have to pass on this one because I will not be able to do this. Yeah. You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
There's a craft to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I mean, it's a fun journey, man. It's one of the hardest endeavors it is the hardest endeavor that I've taken on in my life. But I'm still here, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm 38 now. So if I started 20, like that's 18 years and I'm still in it.
Yeah.
And I'm still feel like I'm a baby, a novice. Like, I think that's good. Yeah. You know, and I hope to be like Wayne and still like, you know, hella old, still like excited and like, dude, we were on set and we do something like a take that was awesome and we weren't expecting whatever. And between takes, we would like giving each other high fives and shit. Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
Makes him happy.
Yeah. Makes him happy, made me happy. I'm just like, man, this is awesome. That I couldn't believe how joyful he still was and not jaded he was. And how he took everything personal too, you know, like there's things that like, you know, when people don't like the film, whatever, like it really gets him down. So to see it still affect him in that way, dude, if I was him, I'd be like, fuck you. You know, I did this. And like, I don't give a fuck what you think. He does. And I think that's what keeps him alive and like really still kicking and all that. You know, I was like, when are you gonna write me, like, when are we gonna work together again? Like, when are you gonna write me a new thing? He's like, I'm working on it. I'm like, cool. I'll do whatever. Like, even if he doesn't pay me, I'll be there. Yeah. You know, it's not about the money at all.
Yeah. It's a conversation of just passion and, you know, notoriety. Like, I think working for passion can keep you going for a very, very long time. Yeah. Working for just notoriety, that shit is fleeting, dude. Like, that shit disappears so fucking fast.
Well, I think, you know, what I realized, in the last few years is the thing that helps me continue to do what I do is if it's not for myself. You know, if there's a purpose, a bigger sort of reason I'm doing it that is beyond my own borders, you know, and like having a, you know, like I have a kid and everything, and that introspection that's happened after having the kid, like it really has changed how I look at the world and how I move and the things I want to take on. But the biggest thing is like, I have a purpose. I have a purpose in this world for what I do and why I'm doing it. So it allows me in the worst of times to be like, well, boo-hoo for me, but you still have to do this for this group of people, and you have to do it to make, you know, at least your corner of the world a little bit brighter. And that to me is worthwhile. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So like that really keeps me going rather than any of the ancillary bullshit, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's an hour in. That was quick. And then we're good now.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that wraps up this episode of the of Genius Brain. We got Justin Chon in here. Remember to support Miss Purple when it comes out. You got anything else you want to plug?
September 6th, Miss Purple comes out at the New Word in Santa Monica. The next weekend, it'll be in Landmark Theaters in New York City, and we'll expand in LA. And then after that, it's going to be in most major cities.
Put your money where your mouth is, you stupid bitches. How about that, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that. But you guys can find us on Spotify, iTunes, any type of podcast audio thing. Make sure you guys give us that 5-star, and we'll see you guys again. Remember, we upload every Thursdays and Sundays. And I will see y'all next time, you smelly, smelly bitches. Peace.
Peace.